You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, we got breaking news in here involving the Las Vegas Raiders. And, man, I really hate this for Raiders fans because I really like the fit. You got to wonder, with all the rumors going around about the Raiders trying to trade up to number one, have Tom Telesco and Antonio Pierce decided to not try to trade up to number one, especially in light of the fact that Caleb Williams has officially come out, or at least his camp, and said, we will play for the Chicago Bears. Now, one can only imagine that Justin Fields will be on the market, but nonetheless, it's my understanding the actual signing of a contract was a mere formality. And that's what everybody else thought too, but Kliff Kingsbury has decided to not take this Las Vegas Raiders job. This is very interesting. The problem is I don't know where he's got left to try to go besides the Washington Commanders maybe. But every other job, I believe, is now filled. I'm trying to think. Patriots got their offensive coordinator. Bucks. Question is, would the Bucks have went Liam Cohen if Kliff Kingsbury was on the market? Steelers are filled. I'm trying to think of any other teams. Maybe the Seahawks. They're West Coast. The Raiders will have to continue their offensive coordinator search. Kliff Kingsbury, who has been expected to take the Las Vegas role, is now taking his name out of the running, per ESPN's Adam Schefter reported Saturday. All right, so let's go to Victor Furr with The Athletic. The deal had not been signed, though both sides thought it was a formality. Raiders felt Kingsbury was, quote, most creative of those who interviewed and were excited. And then the original post was Schefter, a twist in Vegas. He's withdrawn himself from consideration of the job for the Raiders. That's crazy. Contract talks broke down is a follow-up that was added on there. Look at this comment. They told him Caleb is going to Chicago. I mean, that's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting indeed. He's going to Chicago, and this guy from 2022 will be right. It's talking about Caleb Williams. The problem is they hired Shane Waldron. Unless they're somehow going to try to back out of that, and if they do, that's going to make the Bears look awfully not great. But maybe they thought they weren't going to have Caleb Williams. Maybe he had told them he wouldn't play for the Bears, and now he's decided not to in light of the fact that Colin Cowherd dropped dime on the Bears, or on Caleb Williams, and then the Caleb Williams camp, after he took a lot of heat, came out and said, no, we will play for the Bears. Okay. And then you got the Raiders, and surprisingly, a lot of Raiders fans are, I guess, positive about this, and I've got to wonder, is this your future offensive coordinator, Hue Jackson? I saw this and was like, are you kidding me right now? And look, I understand some Raiders fans like Hue. He's a dumpster fire. I'm floored. The Raiders interviewed former Browns head coach Hue Jackson for an offensive staff position. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN reports. I'm sure it's tied to Marvin Lewis. The Raiders hired former Cardinals head coach Kliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator. No, they didn't. That's now off. Former Bengals head coach Marvin Lewis as an assistant head coach. Jackson worked with Lewis for 5 seasons in Cincinnati before going to the Browns as their head coach. Jackson, 58. He's only 58 years old. Wow. Went 3-36-1 in 2.5 seasons in Cleveland. He was the head coach with the Raiders in 2011, going 8-8. That's right. Jackson had spent the past 2 seasons as head coach at Grambling, which fired him in November. He was 8-14 there. Now you got to wonder, because look, a lot of these offensive coordinators, they're officially off the market now. That's the problem the Raiders have, right? Arthur Smith's gone. Liam Cohen's gone. Let's see, who else? Zach Robinson is gone. Shane Waldron gone. I'm trying to think of all the Alex Van Pelt, which was a big one. Now, question is, would Alex Van Pelt had went to work for the Patriots, had he known this job was going to open back up? And if Kliff Kingsbury was going to end up backing out? You got to wonder, would multiple coordinators have taken a job if they had known this Raiders job was going to open back up? Because this got announced, I believe, a couple of days ago, and now it's open again after guys have already taken jobs. This is interesting. Some people are really throwing some shade at Antonio Pierce and Mark Davis today because of this. Kliff was a big get. I'm not going to kid you, just from the standpoint of, you technically speaking, you now got a rookie head coach. You were going to have Kliff there. You were going to have Marvin Lewis there. And Tom Coughlin's around. That's a lot of head coaching knowledge to fall back on if there's just things involving the overall overseeing of the club. You need to find an ear to bend. And you're like, well, you know what? What do you think about this? Let me run it past you. And then you got multiple people with experience. Maybe there's a tie, and you need a tiebreaker in a decision, an important decision. Who to set, who to start, whatever. You get the point. And now you got to wonder, I can't believe I'm going to say this because I did this video the other day. One of the other people that they're leaning on, and that he was leaning on, I'm talking about Pierce during the season, was Adam Gase. Yeah, Adam Cocaine Eyes Gase, that guy. Jets and Dolphins coach. That was one of the guys that Antonio Pierce was getting some advice from, along with Tom Coughlin and Marvin Lewis. So is he now in play out of sheer desperation? Is he back in play? Is Chip Kelly? Yeah, Chip Kelly is wanting out of UCLA, and he's wanting to be an OC in the NFL. A lot of people think Chip is headed up to the Washington Commanders. But if Chip wants to stay much closer to the West Coast, you got to wonder, and I should have brought Chip's name up like 3 minutes ago, but you got to wonder, is Chip Kelly now officially in play? All I've got to tell you is, being a 49ers fan, and I understand the league is running more and more of Chip's concepts, but I just don't know how that's going to work. He was so god-awful with the 49ers. He was 2-14, and the offense stank, all right, with extra ink on it. It was nasty. I just can't imagine that maybe Chip Kelly will have success. But now you got to think, is Chip Kelly in play here? Wow, I think it's a huge loss for the Raiders. I really do. I know a lot of people don't like Kliff, but, man, I think he's a really smart offensive guy. Scheme it up, throw a little air raid in there. I love it. I really do. I don't know how much relation. I'd have to go back and look to see if he's got any experience. Did he cross paths with Baker Mayfield? That's kind of interesting. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.